Salvete discipulae discipuli, nunc est Anuglus Historiae. It's History Corner with Mr. Carroll. Today we're going to be talking about the ancient occupation of the Fullo in Latin, or fuller in English. So a fullo is a washer or scourer of cloth and linen. So he or she had two jobs. One, new cloth needed to be scoured and smoothed in order to be less itchy and to more readily accept the dye. Or two, worn cloth would need to be washed and cleansed from the oils and dirts that would have occurred in everyday society. This is something done specifically with wool, although linen could be done fullered as well. There's records of people bringing their linen to the cloth to the fulleries as well. But most often it would be done with wool, and that was the most common fabric in the ancient world. It's so important there are a lot of laws that were made to regulate how it should be done. And the fullers were really powerful that they would make a collegia, which is kind of like a guild in the Middle Ages, where they would kind of come together to share their power, all right, and work together to get better laws and regulations and taxes for them. We know that their patron goddess was Minerva, because Minerva is typically the goddess of all craftspeople. Now, what is the process of fulling? Because it's not something that we do nowadays. Nowadays, you go to your laundry room, you put your dirty clothes in the washing machine, you put in some detergent and some fabric softener, and you select your cycle and hit start. So the process is there's 3 steps in this process. The first step is seen here, where you soap the cloth, either new or old, with an alkaline detergent. And that could be lye, nitrum, or ammonia in the basin. Now, there was like an idea of soap, but it seemed to be further north in Gaul, in modern-day France. And the Romans were using what's known as an alkaline detergent, which basically breaks down the fats and the dirts and the oils that were in the cloth and pulls them out. All right. Now, the ammonia that they used would have been taken from processed urine. All right. And that's where we get the Emperor Vespasian's quote, "Pecunia non olet," the money does not smell. Because he, along with several other emperors, would put taxes on the urine that the fullers would use. And his son Titus was complaining about the tax, and he's like, here's this gold coin. Does it smell? No, it's because the money doesn't smell. It doesn't matter where we get our money from. But it shows how important this kind of product was, that the emperor had to get involved in taxing it. All right. And so it's not that people necessarily were peeing in the fulleries, but that they were the urine was collected and processed, and you got ammonia from it, which would then be used in the fulleries. So you would process it, you would soap these cloths with the detergent of your choice that would break down and kind of cause the bonds of the oils to break apart, and you would do that by stepping on it. And here's from a painting from Pompeii showing a man standing up and 3 boys who were probably his apprentices learning how to do it, and they basically smush around the cloth with their feet. The second part is, of course, rinsing and drying. You really, really got to rinse this well in order for you to be able to then give it back to the customer. And this is all the fulleries, or fullonica in Latin, would have a complex system of basins, 3 to 4, where the water would be kind of sent through and at different stages wash out the detergent. And these are 2 of the basins from the Fullonica of Stephanus, one of the more famous and easily accessible ones in Pompeii. And so you would rinse it out and you would dry it, and then you would have to finish it. And that included the process of combing it to fluff it back out, as you can see one of the men doing in the line drawn down below. Or you could have treated it with sulfur, which caused color to fade, and most of the togas and tunics were white in ancient Rome, and so this would be important to kind of give it sulfur. Or you would press it flat and kind of get out all the moisture and kind of dry it all out, and kind of like ironing today. And then you would either sell the cloth back to the next step, which would be the dyeing process, if that's what was needed, or you would return it to the person. And so all the fooleries would, of course, have a shop side of it. And you can see here the mosaic off to the left has the word salve in it. And it shows that this is probably the customer interface side of the process where they would get back their cloth after it's been cleaned. Now, it's clear that this is not something you would do at home because of the process and all the water that was needed. And since it's so important in the process in the textile industry, there's a lot of these shops all over the place. There are at least 13 identified workshops in Pompeii. There's 3 large ones we know of in Ostia, and there's so many talked about in ancient Rome. Because it seems that you weren't going to be doing your own laundry, you were going to be sending it out to be done, just like we send out dry cleaning to be done nowadays. And it's clear also that it's an important process because the fullers got a lot of money. They had so much money that they were able to donate statues for public buildings in the ancient Roman world. Here you can see the entrance to the Eumachia building in Pompeii. And in the back of it, the fullers had donated a statue to Eumachia. Eumachia had built the whole building, but they donated a statue to her. Now, we're not really sure how Eumachia and the fullers are connected. This could have been where they had their market for selling or returning goods to people, but we're not really 100% sure. But obviously, they're wealthy enough and important enough that they are able to donate an entire statue to a very important Pompeian woman. And so here you can kind of see this is one of the larger Fullonicas in Pompeii. It's the one of Stephanus. And I'll link to a couple of videos that walk you through the remains of it. But you can see that it's got a front facing sharp off to the left where the people would bring their cloth. It has rinsing basins and the stamping basins into the back. And that's how and it has drying racks up on the second floor. And this is just a reconstruction of what we best think it would have looked like. Now, it's obvious that this kind of helps us identify where the Fullonicas are, because there would have been a wet and a dry part of every one of them, and you would need all those basins and all those rinsing areas to kind of clean out the fabric. And that's how we've been able to identify the 13 different Fullonicai in Pompeii, is from all these kind of components of the whole fulling process. So there you have it. That is what is a fullo, what is a fullonica. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them below in the comments, and I'll see you next time.